Brilliance Audio.
The Darkest Destiny, a Lords of the Underworld novella by Gena Showalter, performed by Bellmore.
1001 Dark Nights. Once upon a time, in the future. I was a student, fascinated with stories and learning. I studied philosophy, poetry, history, the occult, and the art and science of love and magic. I had a vast library at my father's home and collected thousands of volumes of fantastic tales. I learned all about ancient races and bygone times, about myths and legends, and dreams of all people through the millennium. And the more I read, the stronger my imagination grew, until I discovered that I was able to travel into the stories, to actually become part of them. I wish I could say that I listened to my teacher and respected my gift, as I ought to have. If I had, I would not be telling you this tale now. But I was foolhardy and confused, showing off with bravery. One afternoon, curious about the myth of the Arabian Nights, I traveled back to ancient Persia to see for myself if it was true that every day Shahryar, Persian for king, married a new virgin and then sent yesterday's wife to be beheaded. It was written, and I had read, that by the time he met Scheherazade, the vizier's daughter, he'd killed 1,000 women. Something went wrong with my efforts. I arrived in the midst of the story and somehow exchanged places with Scheherazade, a phenomena that had never occurred before and that still to this day I cannot explain. Now I am trapped in that ancient past. I have taken on Scheherazade's life, and the only way I can protect myself and stay alive is to do what she did to protect herself and stay alive. Every night, the king calls for me and listens as I spin tales. And when the evening ends and dawn breaks, I stop at a point that leaves him breathless and yearning for more. And so the king spares my life for one more day, so that he might hear the rest of my dark tale. As soon as I finish a story, I begin a new one, like the one that you, dear reader, have before you now.
Prologue. Brochan the Undeterred scanned the immortal nightclub and scowled. Too many people. Music is too loud. Strobe lights are too bright. Scents too cloying. He hated this place. Granted, he hated most places. At the moment, he perched alone at a shadowed table. Alone, always his preference. No one proved foolish enough to approach him. He'd left Nevers, the uppermost sky realm accessible only to sent ones, and entered the lower sky realms accessible to all, thinking to observe his younger brother. A boy he'd raised as a son for hundreds of years, after their parents deemed the troubled 3-year-old McCadden demon-tainted, in order to relinquish all responsibility for him. Considering Brochan and McCadden were born and bred demon assassins, the label came with problems. Though only 15 back then, Brochan had moved out and overseen the child's care himself. The second he'd beheld the tiny, squalling infant, he'd known love for the first time. True love based on a decision more than a feeling. A willing determination to protect the boy with his life, no matter what he thought or what he felt. No matter the cost. For the bulk of his existence, Brochan had lived for his child's happiness. At the age of 18, he'd even petitioned the High Council for a wife, eager to give the lad a mother. The council had agreed and selected a messenger named Samantha. With high hopes, Brochan wed the quiet maid. But after only 3 years, she ended the joyless union and left him, never looking back. Her departure had broken McCadden's heart, just as fiercely as their parents' desertion. In desperation, Brochan had wed a second female, Rebecca. She left him 2 years later. What should have been a mild inconvenience
Sample complete. Ready to continue?